let's start the show. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. But enough of me, I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FV Show, we're going to be doing our first mock draft of the season for whatever reason and kind of just planning out this project in full. I've kind of put mock drafts on the back burner and now I'm finally ready to see who's going where, who the sleepers, the risers, the fallers are, and it's going to be a damn good time while we do it. But before we start, I need 3 quick things from you. First off, the easiest one to do is to text me, 330-302-1554. Any kind of fantasy football advice or question that you have, I'm going to answer right over there. Whether it's deciding between 2 players in your draft, maybe it's a rookie that you're trying to decide who you want to take in your dynasty league, or maybe it's a trade offer. Whatever the case may be, let's shoot the shit over there. So be sure to text me. Message and data rates may apply. And then also, be sure to do these easy 2 things for me. First off, smash that subscribe button, power running back style so you never miss a video from me. We upload 2 times a day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also hit that like button on this video like a wide open receiver downfield to show your support for the channel. Thank you very much. Now let's just jump right into it. So here is what we're doing today. We are going to be doing a 12-team half-point PPR mock draft. Basically settings, so 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, tight end, no defense, no kicker, and then 6 bench slots. So let's get into this. But what I'm really fascinated by is I have this thesis for the year. And this thesis, we're going to be testing a few times throughout different kind of mock drafts. And that is, I think drafting in the top 3 is going to put you in a very good position this year. Just kind of the way that I've heard of draft boards being laid out and kind of consensus rankings, it's an interesting spot to be in. Now, preferably, I like to be either in the middle or in the back end of the first round because I like having that turn at the wheel. Also, the middle just because it's very consistent where you're not waiting too long pick per pick. So let's just go right into this. I don't want to do the first pick because in a 12 team, I'm not sure how much that would work. But I do think it's kind of interesting. You know what? We're going to do it. I think... So we're either going to do the first or the third. And in a 12 team, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work out. Actually, fuck it. We're going to do the second. Right? Let's just go in the middle. Why not? All right, and let's start this draft. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey's gonna go 1-on-1. We knew that, and that's kind of the one thing I like. That's why I ultimately settled on 2 instead of 1 because there is no discussion of who the first pick should be. So let's pull this up. We are using Sleeper. I have mixed feelings about Sleeper, but I like their mock draft system, so we're gonna roll with that. So we have options here. My nose is also itching like crazy, so I apologize. So we have options here. We could go with Barkley, Zeke, or Kamara. I'm lower on Barkley than the consensus. I dropped my pen. There we go. I'm lower on Barkley than the consensus right now. Oh, and I also put 5 minutes per pick so I can kind of talk these things through. So, can I get in frame here? What is going on? I'm such a bad video maker. Anyways, Barkley, I'm iffy on. I know the talent's there, and talent usually always wins out. But the Giants' schedule, as I'm going to talk about in a future video, is not the best. And I'm still not entirely sure what that offense is totally going to be. And so, for me, Barkley's kind of out. I know I just talked about Alvin Kamara in my Saints video, and I have Barkley ranked as my number 2 running back, but that's probably going to change. So really the question comes down to me between Zeke and Kamara. Zeke feels like a no-brainer, but there is that... I feel like Kamara's just due for a bounce-back season, but with your first pick, like, I want a guy who's going to give me consistent production, and we've seen Kamara disappear from time to time, whereas Zeke just shows up. Every single week, Ezekiel Elliot just shows up, and he's on a great team with a great offense, and they're going to put points up on the board no matter what. So because of that, I'm actually going to take Zeke at number 2 right now because he can also catch passes as well. Dalvin Cook jumps, Alvin Kamara. I mean, like look at how this starts. All these running backs just fly off the board. Okay. So off the bat, this is where things got interesting. We are back on the clock. Let's go over who just went through. You guys can see it on screen right here. This is what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out where the quarterbacks would go. Because I don't know if this is just a sleeper algorithm thing. They went this high. I mean, you're talking these guys are going at the fucking turn. But from what I've heard, quarterbacks tend to go in the back of the second, early third. So what I was planning on doing was to grab one of these quarterbacks here, just to kind of see and just go balls to the wall with this team and load it up front with these first 3 picks. So my plan is kind of slights it already, but that's fine. This is why we mock draft. This is why we kind of adjust on the fly. So right now, the pool of wide receivers just shrunk drastically. We had Michael Thomas go, we had Mike Evans go, Julio, Adams, Nuke, and Tyreek. So that's kind of to be expected. You're looking on the board here with Chris Godwin, and there's no way that Godwin gets back to me. Who else is available? So this middle tier of running backs that I'm hovering over on the screen right now is super fascinating to me because I think that's going to be a great area to strike. But you can't pass up Chris Godwin right now, I don't think you can do it. Just when you have Chris Godwin kind of fall into your lap like that and you have the turn, there's no way. George Kittle was the other player I was considering. I never do tight ends early, but once again, this is like I'm just trying to kind of experiment. This is my first mock draft. So I think we're going to shift the approach right now to let's just take this as seriously as possible. I was going to kind of tweak around and make some adjustments, but we're going to go as if we're actually constructing a real team off the bat. So that being said, one of the strategies that I really like doing is, I'm a big proponent of this overall, is I love running backs. To me, it's one of my biggest life-standing philosophies that running backs win you championships. And so because of that, I'm going to bypass Kenny G, I'm going to bypass Adam Thielen, and I'm going to grab one of these running backs here because the running back pool is always so much thinner than the pool of wide receivers. I can pull off a wide receiver off of waivers to start next week if I needed to, whereas running backs, it's probably very unlikely. So another question is Melvin Gordon, Fournette, Carson, Le'Veon. And honestly, I really don't like any of these guys all too much. Ooh, this is difficult. So I'm gonna do something a bit hot takey. My hot take. See, is this too early? This is the question. Is this too early to take who I want? See, so I also have to realize that he's not getting back to me. So right now I'm in a spot of pick the guy you want, and for me that's Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, I'm so high on this year, and I don't know why. I think it's because I actually believe in the Jets, and he was so bad last year. But he was bad in the sense that he didn't live up to his contract. But if you look at what he did as far as fantasy goes, he was actually he was fine, right? He was super solid, very consistent. And so I think when the Jets take this step forward, he will as well. So this is exactly what I was talking about and why I took a running back there instead of a wide receiver. Because the wide receivers on the board are Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, DJ Chark, DJ Moore, Odell. So this wide receiver pool overall is so incredibly deep. You can load up on running backs early, and that is super fascinating for me because it just aligns what I would normally do anyway. I'm not going to touch Mark Andrews here. Honestly, in the 4th round, that's not terrible value. That's actually kind of decent. Andy's the 4th tight end off the board because Ertz just went, and so that would be, you kind of get some cushion there where you just need to finish in the top 4, and that's very doable. Lockett, Allen. I'm going to take Robert Woods here, and Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna go Robert Woods just because he's, to me, that Rams offense, they are just gonna throw the ball a ton. And Keenan Allen, who just went, I don't know what he's gonna look like this year because the Chargers QB situation's all up in the air. DJ Chark was somebody I was considering, but ultimately I like the floor of Robert Woods because you also have ceiling there as well. And so no matter what, I think he's gonna be fine for you, but he does have that potential to obviously have a few boom games because of the offense that he's in. Mark Andrews is still on the board. He is still on the board. Jonathan Taylor's there, who is a guy that I'm going to talk about later this week. Right this week? I think it's this week. I think it's Friday's video. I'll talk about the Colts. Russ, that's too early. Kyler, that's too early. I'm kind of staring down Odell. Who else is who? Let's scroll down just a bit. See, these running backs get really ugly really fast, and that scares me. So because of that, because the running back pool scares me already, I am going to take Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. Jonathan Taylor is a very interesting player for me this year because of the fact that I don't know what the split between him and Marlon Mack is going to be, especially with the fact that we probably aren't getting preseason at all this year, so they're going to be learning on the fly what that looks like. And I went for that play because right now, this is why. Because I can get Cortland Sutton in the 6th round, in the back of the 6th. That's why you do running backs when you can. It's because of situations just like that. And even so, we're back on the clock again. Rodgers went. So let's kind of recap where guys went as far as recent rounds go. Odell went 5'9". There goes Andrews at 5'5". Deshaun, Kyler, Russ, Dak. The QB run just went, essentially. Rodgers is gone. So now that we're looking at the team, we got 3-3. And that's kind of typically how I always start my draft in some fashion, just the combination of things. Depends on what that looks like. But now that we're looking at who's available, there's Geis. I have no interest in Darius Geis. Landry's interesting, especially in a half-point PPR. Ronald Jones is still here. Evan Ingram. In a half, I'm gonna take the floor. I'm going to take the floor over anything else because in a half point, I think floor matters a little bit more because you like getting those guaranteed numbers. And truth be told, Jarvis Landry is always undervalued in fantasy. He consistently finishes better than his ADP. I've had him on my fantasy team multiple times. And let's be honest, last year, if you want to look at the numbers, he played way better than Odell. And I'm going to buy that again this year. So I'm going to take Jarvis Landry of the Cleveland Browns. Rojo goes next. Cam Akers, interesting. Cam Akers is in. I have thoughts about Cam Akers, and we're going to talk about Cam Akers later today, so be sure to subscribe for that as we do our Los Angeles Rams preview. Let's see, so who's going right now? Beautiful. This works out perfectly. Again, shocking, right? So the running backs continue to go with Rojo, Cam, Geis, Sony, J.K., Tevin Coleman, Carrion, James White, Latavius, Matt Breida, and my favorite running back this year is still on the board, and that's Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard, I'm turning to the camera when I say this. Jordan Howard is going to get the ball 250 times this season. I don't care about Matt Breida. I don't care even if this is in a half-point league. Jordan Howard is going to be a workhorse running back, and Jordan Howard is always good for fantasy football. So the fact that I just got a starting running back in damn near the 9th round, unbelievable value. I want him in every single league this year. But now that we're back on the clock, we had more quarterbacks go off the board, and that was Matt Ryan and Drew Brees. So Josh Allen also went. This is probably the time for me to take a quarterback. Now that I'm looking. Can I sort this by quarterbacks, please? Thank you. So quarterback's still on the board. No, we're not going to take a quarterback. I just saw that list. No. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. So tight ends, we got Hunter Henry's available. Let's see. No one on the board is really jumping out right now besides Carson Wentz. But even then, I know I can wait on a quarterback just a little bit longer, I think. But there's Hardman, Madison, Lind. None of these guys are interesting. So if I was doing a live draft with my league right now, I would look, and I have the ability to trade draft picks. I would look to trade out of this spot because I'm sure somebody would want either Wentz, Brady, maybe the Dalvin Cook owner wants to take a flyer or wants to handcuff Dalvin with Alexander Madison. There are guys here that could be taken. So I would try and trade out of this pick in some way if I could. Unfortunately, this is a mock draft and I can't do that right now. This stinks. Like, this is a really ugly slot. So because this is so ugly, I am just gonna trust my gut, and I'm gonna take Wentz. That's fine. I'm cool with it. Wentz in the 9th round. You're getting Carson Wentz at quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you're getting Carson Wentz at quarterback 11, and he has the very, very real likelihood of outperforming that. So I'm cool with that. That's a fine selection there. Guys who went afterwards were another run of quarterbacks with Stafford, Brady, Daniel Jones, and Baker. Tight ends went again. So, unfortunately, my two tight ends that I really like this year just went, and that was Hayden Hurst and Tyler Higbee. So, what tight ends are available right now? How dead in the water am I? I'm not dead yet. Notice I'm not dead yet. Cool. So let's go back. In a half-point PPR league, who's still on the board? We have Pollard. Because we have Zeke, that's interesting to me. But I don't necessarily like handcuffing guys. Sterling Shepard, just because he's one of the 3 mouths and just kind of gets consistent targets. But I'm actually going to take Tariq Cohen right here. And that might be an interesting choice. But the reason why I want to go with Cohen is just because we've seen what he can do, even if he's not the number 1. He's had seasons where he's finished just outside of a running back 1 in fantasy. Last year was a major letdown. But even if we expect the Bears offense to take a half step forward, that his floor is going to go up just a little bit more. And I'm totally fine with that. So now that we're looking, can I pause this draft? I don't know if I can or not, but I just want to quickly recap who we have so far. So we have our running backs are Zeke, Le'Veon, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Howard, and Tariq Cohen. We then have Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry as wide receiver, followed by Carson Wentz leading the team at quarterback. So the reason why, I don't know if I can wait. I don't know if I can wait a little bit longer. I might be able to. I think I'm going to. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer on tight end. So, taking a look at the board, Chase. So, I'm going to take Tony Pollard right here. And the reason why I'm going to take Tony Pollard is because Ezekiel Elliot has already had corona. Now, can he get it again? I don't know. There are mixed reports saying that you can or can't get it. And it all depends, I believe, on like the antibody levels. I'm not a doctor. Who knows what the fuck that means. But I'm going to go with Pollard because on the chance, on the miraculous, what's the opposite of miraculous? On the horrific, I guess, chance that Zeke gets corona again, Pollard can step right in and take over that role. We've seen glimpses of it in little spurts. And that's just something that you have to be cognizant of during this season because this season is going to rely so much on depth more than anything. So I'm going to stack up my number 1 running back with his handcuff. And I would probably never do that otherwise. But this year is an exception to that. There's no way I can absolutely still wait on tight end right now. Should I? I don't know. So what does the board look like? Who just recently went? We had some more quarterbacks go. We had a run of wide receivers. Went with Sterling Shepard, Djax, Mike Williams, Alshon and Sammy, along with Jamison Crowder. So now we're really just in the territory of dart throws. I want to get one final one, because we are going to need to take a tight end here in a second. So looking at who's left, there's not a whole lot of them. Actually, there is. You're taking Jalen Rager. I'm taking Jalen Rager here. And the reason why is because this Philadelphia offense, especially because I do have Carson Wentz. So first off, I get that stack there. And then number two, the main reason why I took him before I realized, oh shit, you have Wentz too, is Alshon's probably starting the season on the PUP list. It's not looking good, and even so, Alshon always misses games during the season anyway. Djax is getting up there in age, and who knows how healthy he's going to be. So there is a very real chance that Jalen Rager can come in and assert himself into this offense. So I'm going to take that dart throw on the rookie wide receiver out of TCU, a guy that I actually really like a lot. And now we're going to take our tight end, and the tight end for me is really easy. We're going to take Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is replacing Delanie Walker. He's better than Delanie Walker, and this Titans offense is the exact same as what happened last year. Now, they're going to have some regression just naturally, but by and large, the pieces remain the same. We just saw Derrick Henry get a massive extension. They extended Tannehill, and Jonnu Smith is going to be a part of this offense as well. But I think in the hierarchy of the offense, obviously Henry, AJ Brown, Smith, but still you're getting a potential top 10 tight end in the 13th round right now, and probably later if we had more rounds to this mock draft. So I like that team right here. So let's minimize this. Let's kind of just go over some teams right now. So I want to recap my team first, and that's, let's see, we got Zeke, Le'Veon, those are my 1-2 running backs, followed with Godwin and Robert Woods. My flexes would be somewhere along the lines of Jonathan Taylor, Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry, Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, Tony Pollard, Jalen Rager. My tight ends, Jonnu Smith. My quarterback's Carson Wentz. So, in terms of numbers, how did this shake out? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 6 running backs and 5 wide receivers, which is typically how I play things normally. Like I said, wide receivers are typically always replaceable, whereas running backs aren't. Contrary to the current stigma within the NFL and how running backs are perceived, I always think that's really funny. How much I value running backs in fantasy compared to real life value of running backs. So overall, this team just screamed floor, right? There was a lot of floor plays that I drafted here. So like Zeke just has a monster floor week in, week out. Godwin's gonna have a monster floor. Le'Veon, monster floor. Robert Woods, monster floor. Jarvis Landry, monster floor. Jordan Howard, monster floor. And so because of that, I feel like that's a fine approach, because I do have room for upside, and I have room for upside for a few places. First off, Le'Veon Bell, his improvement going into year 2 of the Jets. Upside with Jonathan Taylor, who has the possibility, I don't know if it's going to happen, but there is a world where Jonathan Taylor finishes as a running back 1 this year. Tony Pollard is another ceiling play if there is the chance that Ezekiel Elliot contracts corona again. And then also Jalen Rager if the Eagles wide receiving core goes unfortunately as planned due to injury, then Jalen Rager can step in and have a monster season right off the bat as a rookie. And then as well as Jonnu Smith, who I think kind of qualifies more as that late round tight end dart throw than anything else. But I feel like the data is there to back it up as to what he could be, and what he can ultimately accomplish this season in the NFL. So I think that's it. Let me know what trades. Yeah, no, we are not trading picks here. Let's flip screens here. Thank you. So let me know what players you would have drafted. What are your thoughts about my team? This was interesting. I'm glad I did this, and I'm glad I filmed this, because there was part of me where it's just like, let's just do a mock draft and let's just let's not film it. Let's just kind of see how the board shakes out, and then we'll film another one once I get a better understanding. But I like seeing where the board was initially, and I'm glad I got to see some of my reactions as to guys who were still available, what guys went, and kind of how the Plinko board fell. No, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. We're trying to do this thing 2 times a day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, text me 330-302-1554, and I'll see you next time. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. Later.